Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. We are going to be going over improving your agency meetings with Microsoft OneNote. So without further ado, let's get started. We've got a lot to cover here in the next 29 more minutes. So let's start off by what is this Microsoft OneNote thing and how is it going to help us with our meetings? So it is a digital note-taking app. No more walking into our meetings, hopefully, with our old style yellow pads. Microsoft OneNote will make you much more productive as far as taking notes. A bit bigger, finding your notes that you took previously. It does run on Windows computers, Macs, and really almost any type of devices that you have, whether it be smartphones or tablets, Android, Mac, Apple devices, Windows, and so on. It does support lots of different input types. You can, of course, just type on it with a keyboard. You can also take handwritten notes if your device supports it, i.e. you just have a stylus or a touch screen. And you can also do recordings of notes, both audio and video. You can import from any program into Microsoft OneNote, and I'm going to give you a few examples of that. Very, very handy little tool. And to get it, it is free. OneNote.com. Again, that's www.onenote.com. And it's smart enough to know what kind of device you're browsing there from to give you the link to download that's relevant to you at the time. So some of the strengths of OneNote come in that it's easily organizable. We're going to go over lots of things that I've found useful for getting more organized and being more productive in meetings. Look at it like it can be a whole drawer full of OneNote or notebooks. As mentioned before, there's very powerful searching capabilities. It's smart enough to be able to search everything you type, but also, as long as it can read it, and I've got pretty bad handwriting, it does good with mine. It can read what I handwrite with my stylus on my touchscreen laptop. It can also search through files that you import into OneNote from Word, PDF, and so on. Another great feature is you can sync OneNote between different devices. So if you have it on your laptop and then you get a tablet, whether it be an iPad or an Android or even a Windows tablet, and your smartphone, all of them can be set up with the same OneNote notebooks. So if you jot some notes on your laptop, when you're on the road, you'll have them on your phone and so on. Makes going on the road very handy, keeping all your devices in sync at all times. With that also, you can collaborate with other team members. It doesn't have to be just yourself that you're sharing your notebooks with. So if it's a management meeting, your whole management team can share a OneNote notebook. It can take inputs from different people, and everybody can stay on the same page, if you will. For those of you out there that use a program called Evernote, by the way, Evernote got its fame starting with mobile devices, but then it's come onto the PC. OneNote's just going to provide you a much more rich experience, and thank you, Microsoft. They actually do have free converters, so you can bring your Evernote stuff right over into OneNote. So it makes getting started with OneNote that much easier. If you already have a note-taking app, you want to try OneNote out, it'll be quick and simple to convert that over. That's also accessible from OneNote.com. So without further ado, this is a hands-on webinar. We're going to dive in. I'm going to show you OneNote. Let's see what it looks like, how it works, and we'll give you the real lowdown. So up on my screen, you can see Microsoft OneNote, pretty purpley Microsoft looking program. Starting with version 2007, it did start with the new ribbon look at the top like all the other Microsoft programs. I'm right now showing you 2016. Chances are if you have any Microsoft standard version or above since 2010, you already have Microsoft OneNote installed. Again, it's available for a free download if you don't already have it. So we're looking at OneNote 2016 here. So as you can see, there's a lot going on for starters. So we're going to walk you through getting started with your first notebook. So with that, you're going to have this wizard pop up basically if you open it for the first time, and I'm going to show it to you since I've already started. We're just going to go to our file and new. And then we've got a choice for where we want to put our notebook. Do we want to put it on our OneDrive, which is what puts it online, so you can sync it between your devices. If you don't have a OneDrive account, this will actually walk you through setting one up. That's basically a Microsoft Online account. It is free, by the way. You can choose to add it to your PC, i.e. saving it right to your computer. Now, if you save it to your computer to share it, the other computers accessing it need access to those files. So it would have to be on your network, and then other computers wanting to open it would need to be accessing your network too. So if you're doing sharing between devices, especially mobile, the way to do it is OneDrive, and I'll get into that a little later in our demo. So we're going to put this one on OneDrive, and we'll just call our notebook Webinar Notebook. That is the storage container that OneNote puts things in. It calls them notebooks. So we'll say create, and we're going to just say we're not going to invite anybody now, and then here we go. So you see, now in my OneNote, I've got my work notebook I made previously, and then our new webinar notebook. So let's take a look at what the program is like. What can we do with it? You'll see when you start new notes, you've got a title field here, and then it automatically puts a time and a date stamp. You can change those, of course, by just clicking and open up your calendar, and then clicking your timestamp, and you can choose the time. Otherwise, it's going to default for when you make your new page. So I'm going to expand our notebook, and you'll see what we have a new section here. You'll always have a new section 1. So it shows up on the left. It also shows up on the top. So right away, what I would suggest is you get yourself organized. Figure out what you're going to do with your OneNote. Since I've been using it for years and years, I'll give you a quick preview of my OneNote layout. What you can see is I've got different categories for my different types of meetings: audits, conferences, customer meetings, customer projects, and then office meetings. Below each one of those, I've actually gone through and set up my folders by year. So you can see I've been using it since 2008. And then if I drill down past that even, you can see in 2016 I have my categories for cloud meetings, interviews, level 10 meetings, miscellaneous, projects, reviews, service meetings, and trainings. Find a layout that works for you. I found it very handy for me to break it down by meeting type. Again, this is my work notebook. You might even make a separate work notebook for personal if you're going to use this for your personal notes and organization as well. So what we're going to do with our new webinar notebook is I'm going to show you how to organize a little here. We're going to right click on our notebook, and we're going to do a new section group. We'll call our new section group Office Meetings. And then in our Office Meetings, we can make another new section group, and we'll make those our Monday Management Meetings. So as you can see, as we go down to each level, we just have more and more options to organize further. Once you're ready to actually start taking notes, you make a section. And why don't we call this our October. Sorry, rename our section to October. So now what you see as far as our organization goes, we've got a webinar notebook. We've got a folder for our office meetings. We've got a folder for our Monday meetings. And then we've got folders for October, or a section for October. And what we might do is we'll make a section for November, and we'll make another section for December. So hopefully you can quickly get the idea of what our organization here is going to look like. Of course, you can add these things at any time, but I do find it handy to kind of get yourself a setup layout first, and then the program will just make that much more sense. So there's our layout. We're going to go from here for the rest of our demo. So let's go into October, and now you'll see, again, we've got folders. These are our sections, and then over here we've got pages. So I might call this one, this would be our October 1st meeting, or October 2nd meeting. I add another page, and this might be our October 9th. And as you have each meeting, you can see here where we can go with our organization. So if we're going to take notes for our October 2nd meeting, we just start typing away down here. And as promised, we can type our notes here, and the page will automatically expand. What that does for us is that just gives us an area to type in. But you can also just put your cursor over here and put notes over here. It's a free form input, so you can input stuff anywhere. You can drag and drop things from other programs. For example, I'm going to switch over to a Word doc that I've got open. Let's say this meeting we're talking about our personal computer policy. So I just want to throw this stuff into OneNote maybe. So we just come back over here and we just do a paste. So as you can see, we can copy and paste really from any program to drop stuff into OneNote very quickly. So there's our meeting notes. Now, what else can we do with it? Just like you can with Word, we've got all our formatting options up here to make things look nice and pretty. I am far from a document publishing expert. I'm not great at making things look very pretty, but hopefully you that are, you can get some ideas real quickly from this on how you can format things to your liking. Under our insert menu, you see you can insert spaces, tables. We'll get into some of the other input items. You can do screen clips, i.e. take a screenshot and paste it into there. You can insert pictures, links. I mentioned you can record audio and video. So what this will actually do is it'll take a recording and embed it here. Great little tip for if you're going to do your audio as well. As you're recording your audio or your video, you can type in notes. And when you're doing your playback, it will actually highlight the notes that you took and have it go through the playback, highlighting at each point in time what you were typing as you were recording. So it's a great way to put that audio recording in your notes, kind of have them coordinated so you can determine what note was about what part of the audio or video. We can do date and timestamps, and here's a great feature, page templates. So I'm going to show you this next. So let's just say that when we're working on our meetings, and I'm going to start with our October meeting, let's just say we have a normal recurring agenda for our meetings. And first we do a welcome, and then we do a issues list. Then we go over to do's, and then we have a wrap up. So each meeting I might want to type something under these sections. So I'll get myself have my layout set. And then once I've got my layout set, if I go up to page templates, you see you get this little template set up on the side. There's lots of templates built in that will basically almost act like a Word template or an Excel. Gives you a good starting point. But where I find it very handy and very useful for your meetings is save current page as template. And I will call this our Monday meetings, since that's the section I'm in. And then let's save as default template for new pages in current section. So I'll save it. Now let's get rid of my templates bar. When I make a new page, here's our October 9th. You can see it says October 9th because when I saved the template, it showed October 9th. And then I can just change this one to the 23rd. And then I make a new page, and then I can change this one to the 30th. And as you can see, since I'm going to have meetings where we're going to do the same things over and over, I don't have to take that time and organize myself each time we start a meeting. I've already got it there. So for our meetings, what I do is when I'm in my meeting, I close by just starting next week's meeting page. Throughout the week, I'll come in here and I'll just jot down items for my issues list. I'll just, come up with things to talk about during my welcome. So start your meetings off on the right foot, which is making progress. So we can go up here to our draw menu. As mentioned before, we can manipulate things if we have a pen and or a touch screen here. So you can use a lasso effect, which basically is a big shape drawing tool. We can choose different pen formats, thickness, color, and so on and so forth. You can also make it work like highlighters. You can insert, again, shapes, spaces, and you can even ink to math, meaning it will take your handwriting and turn it into math expressions. If you want to look at history, this is more where some of that power of the searching comes in, which we'll get into in a little bit. Review, these are options for spelling, thesaurus, research, translators. So if you type in or paste in text from different languages, or you're just looking for more information, you can link thesauruses and encyclopedia articles right to here. You can also password protect your notes. And then under View, I also find this very handy. Let me show you a couple tips here. We're in our normal view right now. If you've got a smaller screen, I encourage you to try the page view. So I'll show you what full page does here. It gets rid of all the other menus, just gives you more meeting space. To get out of it, you just hit escape or the double arrow on the left, on the right, sorry. You can also go dock to desktop, which will basically like stick it right to your desktop so it's always there. We can change page colors. Kind of hard to see on my screen here the way I got my display. You can set rule lines. I find this very handy. It turns it into a notebook for those who are used to doing that. Again, because it's free form, you can type and write anywhere. But I find the rule lines just handy to make things easier to look at. There's lots of different rule line settings. And as you can see, there's an option to always create pages with rule lines. So it again remembers your default. And you can do the same thing with grid lines. Rule line color, you can change them so they're different colors as well. Hide the title page, which just makes things neat and cleaner. Page size, you can set your page size and margins. And then of course zoom in, zoom out. Some of these can get very, very large as you're importing documents, so the zoom tools are handy as well. So that's our basic primer over Microsoft OneNote. So I'm going to show you actually using it. Let's get fancy and show some tips and tricks. So what I'm going to do, because I'm on a touch screen right now, is I'm going to move this over real quick. I've got a touchscreen laptop, but I'm showing you my presentation on an external monitor. So I'm going to drag and drop this over, and with the magic of the interweb, I'm going to do some drawing here, and I'm going to say 1, test, and then 2, thanks. And then I'll move it back over, because again I was doing that on my touchscreen. So, as you can see, it takes full pen input. Again, like I said, I've got very poor handwriting on my laptop because my screen is upright. It's kind of tricky to write on. But what I would do during my meetings is I will put my laptop into tablet mode, lay it flat on the table, and then I have a nice, easy-to-use writing surface. Now, where does that come in handy? Let's talk about some real content. Let's say that I'm working on a business meeting that we're going to have. We're going to go see a client who says they're down by Comerica Park. Well, I'm going to share this notebook with my team, and the first thing we're going to need to do is, heck, it sounds simple, but where are we going to park? So I happen to have a Google map of Comerica Park, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this over to my OneNote so we can collaborate. So to do that, I'm going to go to Print, and what you'll find is that when you install your Microsoft OneNote, you're going to get a printer installed on your system that says Send to OneNote. So effectively now, anything that I can print, I can put into OneNote to manipulate and to collaborate with the team on. So I'm going to give it a sec here to take my print job and pull it up. A lot of rich content on this one, so there we go. It's popping up and asking where do I want to put it. I'm going to say let's put this in my October 23rd notes and say OK. You notice there was an option to always put things in a certain notebook. I chose not to do that here. So here's my Google Maps of Comerica Park. And then what I might want to do, again, I'm going to pull this over so I can write it on with my touchscreen. And we're going to say, let's park right over here. So, then my coworker knows exactly where I'm going to park. Sounds simple, but again, handy little tool. So anything that you have, you can get into OneNote as long as you can print it. If you're working on an insurance policy with a customer, you can print your application to OneNote. You'll then have it in OneNote, and then think about what you can do from there. Great way to present to a customer. You walk in with the tablet, hand them the tablet, say here's your policy, check off the items that they're looking for. It may or may not actually be official, but gee, wouldn't that be a great experience? Handing them a tablet and going through each option of their policy point by point. Then once you've got things in OneNote, you can print them. You can print them to PDF, and then G, you've got a filled out application that you can submit in some form. So I think a handy little tool to collaborate not only with your coworkers but with customers too. So let's talk about searching. Got lots of stuff in our meeting notes now. My issue is, okay, how do I always get stuff out? Well, there's a couple ways you can do it. I find that I'm using Microsoft Outlook for my to-dos and my tasks. So what I do is, as I'm taking my notes in OneNote, I'm linking them over to Microsoft Outlook. So let's go back to my October 9th notes. And let's say that in my meeting, I came up with a list of to-dos. We need to finish the Burns report. We need to update Facebook. And we need to submit our reviews. Now, that's great and all. I've got all these things in OneNote, but again, I use Microsoft Outlook for my tasks and my to-do keeping system. So, as mentioned before, you can link with lots of different things here. I'll show you how to link with other programs. I'm going to show you how to link with Outlook first, because where I do most of my searching is actually in Outlook. So you can come up here to Outlook Tasks. Let's make this task due for tomorrow. Let's make this task due for next week. And I want to show you here also, as you get fancy with the programs, notice that next to my to-dos, there's Control-Shift-1, Control-Shift-2. So for my hotkey people out there, hopefully this catches your eye. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, here's a task for tomorrow, and I just on my keyboard press Control-Shift-2. Oops. So you can easily mark your tasks right in Microsoft Outlook, and what this does is this sends it over to Outlook. You now have a task in Microsoft Outlook with this item. When you open up your task, it's going to have the text of the line from Microsoft OneNote, and even cooler, folks, a link you can click on. When you click on that link, it's smart enough to open your OneNote, go to your right section, go to your right page, and highlight the note that you were working that task from. Great, cool integration feature. So I might do the searching for my tasks in Outlook first because of the way that I work with it with my to-dos. But let's just say, a couple of weeks go by and I say, we talked about some kind of thing I had to do with the Burns report. What was that about? So you'll see here, there's Microsoft OneNote. We've got options to search. Show you a little drop down here. Your searching can encompass all your notebooks, just this notebook, the section group, and the section. So I'm going to say just this notebook, and let's see, just search for the Burns. So if I quickly hit enter and there's only one match, it's going to take me right to it. If there's lots of matches, it'll take me to the top one. Now I'm going to say welcome to give you an illustration of what it'll do when you see multiple notebooks that have the words in them. So when I type in welcome, because my Monday meeting template has the word welcome in it at first, it's going to show me every instance of that. So if I look at this one, you can see it's going to highlight whatever you search for in whatever page you're looking at. And it also gives you over here a review of where that item is. And you can see going through this whole thing, it's in my OneDrive, under my documents, in my webinar notebook, in my office meetings, in my Monday meetings, my October, and then October 30th. That's a lot to remember, and there's a lot of possibilities here. So you have an option to pin your search. So I recommend that if you're going to be doing some searching for lots of specific things, you pin your search, and that way you can scroll around your documents and take a look. This is again where I find it handy to go back to your view and change yourself to your full page view, because you've got lots to see here. So yep, this is my one. So then I'm good, and I'm going to go back to where I was. So very powerful searching capabilities. Again, you can search for all your handwritten notes. If you imported Word docs, PDFs, it will look through those text in your documents as well. If you brought over images, it won't be able to do it with images though. So very, very powerful searching. Let's talk about further integration options. So we went over the Microsoft Outlook, and we went over to how to import stuff into OneNote with the send to OneNote, but let's pull stuff in. So let's make a new page here, and I'm going to say that in my issues list, we're going to bring in some other items. So let's say I'm going to bring over a spreadsheet, and we can just go to an existing Excel spreadsheet. Waiting for it to open up on my other screen here. Bear with me. And I'm just signing in. Okay. So then I've got an option to just search for an Excel spreadsheet, and let's find one that we can pull up. So let's look at our copy of script Excel, and we've got options to attach the file, insert the spreadsheet, or just insert a chart or a table. I'm going to attach a file. So as you can see here, it just gives me a link to that file. I can insert the whole spreadsheet if I wanted to see the whole thing, and so on and so forth. So you can insert links to files easily that way. If I want to just bring in any other kind of attachment, I can do that. So if I wanted to, say, bring in a PDF file from the applied users group, let's just look at how to install a bracket. Sure. So as you can see, attach file, or in this case, you can do a printout. So it makes accessing your content from your notes very quick and easy. So this can now become kind of my central lookup place for anything relevant to this meeting and these items. Again, file printout, same as those other options you saw. Let's go into a new notebook. I'll show you what the table views are like. Just like you would in Microsoft Word or Excel. Quickly insert a table. That's it. Very quick and easy. And smart, just like the other Office programs, when you're working in a table, it takes you right to the table bar. What I like is, let's say you're working on meetings and you're doing a collaboration with a team and trying to come up with some things, and you come up with this great new layout for your presentation, and you do it in a table. It's smart enough to know that you're editing a table, and you can even from here then convert it over to Excel. You don't have to then mess with copying and pasting stuff over and how is the formatting going to work. So very, very powerful integration with other Microsoft programs, as you can see. You can also insert links, and again, pictures, whether they're local pictures or online pictures. Okay, last thing I want to show everybody is how to share notebooks. Again, we can share notebooks with ourselves or other team members in a couple different ways. We can have those notebooks saved on the network and just have multiple people open them. But again, that limits us to what we can access as far as the content and where from. Because we might not be able to access the network from our iPad. Or it just might not be as easy. So again, when I created my OneNote notebook, I'll show you again, I did it with the Microsoft OneDrive account. So if you create your notebook with OneDrive, that's going to put them online and just have them up there wherever you can access them from. If you make offline changes on one device, the next time you open it from a different one, it will just go online and sync it down. It does it automatically every time you open OneNote and every time it senses a change. So I've got my OneNote notebook out there already, and let's say I want to share it with my team. You right-click, simply choose Share This Notebook, and I can share this with different people in my organization just by starting to type, and you can see it just will show me recipients right from my address list. You can also type in external email addresses. Say I want to send this to my personal so I can share it on my other devices. It says this, no suggestions found, but feel free to enter any email address, so it's smart enough just to know. Type in a message here that will just simply give them something in the body of the email, and then hit share. So what's going to happen now is those people are going to get an email with a sharing invite and a link to click on. It's going to then prompt them to go into their Microsoft OneDrive account. If they don't have one, they'll just simply need to create one as well, and they'll have access. Now, if we're going to have our notebook saved on the network, let's say we're only going to do this in the office, what you might want to do is just as easy is save our notebook on the network. So that's where you would do this PC, and I'll show you here. Let's just do a test. When we have an option to save it in a different folder, you can see now I'm just putting it in my documents. So you can save it either place. So that's how you would share with online people versus local people. I'm going to go back to sharing options and show you one final thing. Again, right-click and share my notebook. There's a difference with a share meeting. So what this does is this will actually share it with an online meeting. So from here, you can link to the notes where everyone in a meeting, And all your meeting details are going to be there. So if I hit share with meeting, what this will do is this will look for any meetings that you've already got set up. Let's say you're using the Microsoft Online Meeting service. That might be a reason to use that instead of GoToMeeting, because it will bring them in right into your Microsoft meetings. So cool little tool. So I'd really like to go deeper into a lot of different pieces here, but we are doing a 30-minute webinar. I could probably do about an hour and a half on this because it's a great tool. But I wanted to get everybody through the basics, hopefully giving you some ideas that you can take back to the agency and get your meetings supercharged. So with that said, I do want to thank everybody for joining us today.